John Frech. I'm the head baseball coach at North Clay. Got the job probably, it's about 13 years now. Got it by way of the athletic director, Rich Gruball, resigned, and I took a year off because I was at Clay City before that, and I coached against Coach Gruball many times. And I always expressed, hey, if this job ever comes open, I'd like to be a part of it. And as soon as he resigned, he contacted me, and ultimately I was hired by Carolyn Garon and Monty Aldridge and Terry Irvin.
What brings you so much joy in being the coach?
The growth of the players and actually getting to work with them and then getting them to realize their potential. Like, it is amazing how some of these guys have grown, with the weight room, with work ethic and things like that. And, a lot of times they just need somebody out here to show them and to be with them and things like that. And I try to do that as much as I can, as much as my time allows. Through the years, a lot of guys were, they kind of get on me about being soft. And, having a kid and that responsibility does a lot to you. And so you lay back, and it gets you to understand kids a little bit more. Not every kid is the same, and not every kid responds the same way to the same style of coaching. So you got to change it up every once in a while. In college, I wasn't really even recruited out of college. I actually had to go try out at a lot of places, and the place I ended up sticking with was BAC. It's Southwestern Illinois College, SWIC now. And Hall of Fame coach Neil Fiala told me I could walk on, and I actually walked on as a third-string catcher. And I had never caught before, but my dad was a longtime catcher, and everybody knew that. And so I tried that, and then went into pitching. And after that, the weight room does amazing things to people. And that's when weights were just getting big, because before that they said don't lift weights, you get too big. And, that's when the weight room got real big, and I got into it. And with Coach Fiala's work ethic and the way he showed me and the way he did things there, my body and career just kind of took off. I ended up being the closer there for 2 years. And after that, I was recruited by various colleges, but the one that's most important is one I went to is McKendree University by Coach Bainey. Me and him clicked right from the word go. Again, I've played for a lot of great coaches that I've learned from. You take bits and pieces of those and you make them yourself. But Coach Bainey showed me, more of the human side of the game, and really taught me a lot, just being there for me and things like that. So I went there, and I was a starting pitcher, number one or number two, just depends on what it was. And I pitched there for 2 years. We won a lot of games. I think at SWIC, BAC then, we were ranked in the nation in the top 10 at least both years. And then at McKendree, we were ranked pretty high as well. We had some really phenomenal teams, a lot of good players.
When you're coaching, what exactly do you look for in your players?
The number one thing that gets me excited is the passion that they bring to the table. There's got to be a want and a little bit of drive and a little bit of I don't know to get better, and a willingness to go for that. If I had to beg guys to come out and hit and things like that, then that's not me. They got to love the game. And not love it as much as I do, because I think that's probably impossible. But love it to the fact where they want to get better, and they're very coachable. And right now at North Clay and this Clay City that's with us, like, I'm spoiled. I tell everybody I'm spoiled because I don't have to beg guys to come out and do what you would see here every day. If I don't show up or whatever, there would be guys on this field. And as far as I'm concerned, I do not think there's a better place to coach. Sure, there's more talented places, but as far as a community and as far as people being involved and the kids wanting to play as hard as they do, I don't think there's a better place.
Coach, as many know, North Clay won its first ever state baseball title this past spring. Describe what that means to this area.
It is unbelievably huge, not only to the area, but bigger to the community. They get to see, if anybody would drive, I'll say it again, if anybody would drive by here, they see the work ethic that goes on with these guys. and the community knows, that they work hard. And, it's not what am I looking for? It's not something that they're just granted. They know they have to work for it, and the community backing here for baseball is unbelievable. When I came here, all I did was bring the passion that I really liked the game, and it took off from there. There's been many great baseball players that come through here, and many more passionate than me about the game of baseball. And so it just took a little bit of getting back into it for this to really take off. Yeah, at first you think, oh man, it's not really happening. Once it happens, the mental grind of it all, and you're always constantly, as a coach, you're always thinking the next game. But then after you win that, then you go, there's no more games. And what's next? And the community rallied around. Unbelievable. I get goosebumps talking about it right now. Is just seeing the people on the streets, and then up at the square, and the kids, and the impact that these guys have on the community. You'll see it for a long time. I had a kid today that was out here playing, and he asked me if I would show him the same curveball that Donnie Zimmerman throws. And the kid's in 6th or 7th grade, and he's asking me the same curveball of Donnie Zimmerman, which that shows you that people are hearing it and people are watching. It's really neat.
Coach, at what time in the season did you realize that this team had what it takes to be a state title contender?
Well, if you go back into the fall, we had a pretty good fall. And, I've said it 100 times. Our conference is the best in the state of Illinois in 1A. It's not close. I'll take our conference against anybody's. And the way we went through the conference and handled business there against those teams, which I knew were elite, it starts to creep in your mind, but you don't want to say it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not one of the, you don't want to come out and be like, hey, we're a state team. I never wanted to do that. What I preach is we're a game-to-game team. That's the next game. That's the next game. We're not looking down the road. We're looking one step at a time. In the spring, when we started, we beat Nashville, and we hung with Breeze Central, who was an elite team, and we hung with Triad for 5 innings, who was a load of a team. It starts to creep in your mind that, hey, this might happen. The thing that is the best part for me is to see us on a daily basis compete and win against quality teams. The workman-like mentality that they bring to the table every day. They're you could say, a lot of coaches will probably sit here and they go, well, I'm sure you had one day where it was an off day and they kind of jacked around. Not here. Like, they understood what business was, and there's a time and place for that. Some really good moments of the year. Brighton Griffey. How many center fielders go get pop flies like he did and make amazing catches like he did, not only in the state run, but just in playoffs in general. Like, that kid's unreal. Holden Clifton with some of his big hits that he had in the postseason. Logan Fleener with some plays at shortstop were amazing. You go on down the list, Colin Ballard with the leadoff games and sets the tone for the game. Brady Ingram with a throw from his knees. That's probably one of my top 5. Just to see him gun that guy at second base in the state tournament from your knees. Donnie and Burke and Holden pitching their rear ends off time after time. And you would think that, at least one of those games would be a hiccup. And they just weren't. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we got to live it.
Describe winning the sectional and what it felt like beating one of the best teams in the NTC, wins the shoe straws.
Man, going into the spring, I knew them or St. Anthony, that's your target. And I knew they're both very well coached, and Brett does a phenomenal job at Windsor. And I knew they had 2 left-handed pitchers, and going into it, I know Warnsing is a load, and he was on that game. And winning that game was I honestly think that if you talk to a lot of these guys, the regional championship against South Central and the sectional championship was probably your state tournament. If you asked them what their nerves were like going into those two games, I'd say they were pretty darn. They were walking on pins and needles. But winning that game it was a weight off your back.
What are some of the favorite players that you have coached?
Oh man, at North Clay, past 13 years, and inevitably I'm going to leave some guys out, but there are some really talented players here. You could go through. Just when I first got here, I inherited Andrew Grawn, who was going to Eastern Illinois, big old tough righty, and he was not afraid to back down from any kind of competition. Jonah Zink, the whole Zink family. I mean, all great people. But Jonah was a great kid. You look farther, you got Brian Harrington, who's now an umpire, but mentally tough as they come. I mean, he called his own shot against Dietrich in the sectional. Man, the whole starting nine on this one. I mean, I don't think in my career I've been closer to 9 or 10 guys that played in my life. Like, these are guys who are probably going to come over to the house for cookouts when they get older, and we're going to share the old battle stories, and some of them they'll probably make up. But there's just been a tremendous amount. Quincy Aldridge, just mentally tough individuals. Nate Miklotz, who was a great catcher for us, who had an arm from God. There's just so many out there, man. Like Hunter, my assistant coach, he had 2 or 3 years of just being great. But if I was to put together an all-time team here at North Clay, it'd be pretty dang hard to do. There's been a lot of really good players. First of all, my biggest role model's got to be my dad and my mom. Just because, my dad never backed down on letting me grow as a player and encouraging me to play and really doing that. My mom the same way. It looked from a coaching perspective, outside of just family. Neil Fiala showed me what work ethic really is. He showed me what a baseball player really is. And Coach Bainey showed me the same thing. And then it got to be more on we got to be more personal and things like that. We'd actually talk and things like that. And then outside of those guys, you look at people in the community that have helped me. And 2 really stand out to me. One, when I first got here, my assistant coach was Johnny Zink. And Johnny Zink got me acquainted with the whole community and things like that. And having him in my corner really helped me. And then last but not least at all is Kyle Haynes, who works for the San Francisco Giants now. And he's somebody that I call weekly, if not daily, on advice and, just kind of giving me alternatives. And maybe I don't know something, and I call him and ask him what his opinion is, and he's quick to give it to me, and always encouraging. So, I mean, man, there's a lot. There's just a lot.
Coming off of the state title run, a lot of people want to know, Coach, what does the future look like for North Clay baseball?
Future's bright. Now, obviously we're getting younger, and so you're going to have hiccups and things like that, but I think we're also going to surprise a few people. We're going to be extremely young, but then we throw in, you got Logan Fleener, you got a guy who would start on 90% of the teams that we played. Alex Booz is going to be one of our main guys on the bump, So, I mean, yeah, we're going to have some hiccups just from the newness of the game and things like that, but I think once we get going and we get in a rhythm and things like that, I think we'll compete. I don't think there'll be, I don't think we'll be down and out, so to speak. First of all, I gotta give thanks to my wife and kid because they made the ultimate sacrifice. My wife's heavily involved in the tumbling, and she stuck with me, and she was my number one biggest fan, and she got to hear all the good and bad parts of everything, when I got home. So that's first and foremost. After that, I mean, you go to anybody with the last name Zink, Josh, Johnny, Caitlin, John Logan, big, huge people there. The people that put together the parades and things like that. Rich Gruball, you know, did a good job of helping us get organized. You know, you get into a lot. There's just, I mean, you got 100 to 200 people to thank for this, and I'll be forever grateful to every one of them. You know, at a time when, you know, they could have been thinking different, they were thinking all about us. And the congratulations, you know, still haven't stopped. You know, and people will go, when will it get old? And the answer is never. It'll never get old. And we will always have these memories to look back on. And the good thing is that we get to make new ones. You know, we got that to fall back on, but now we have new memories we can go to. And we can build more of a foundation and things like that and go forward.